Okay, so I'm recording now, and I'm recording part of the React router discussion, and I'm on talking about how the outlet works. So again, React router goes through, does the matching. It matches the slash, the leading slash to the header. So that says it's going to render the header. Then it matches the about to this element. So it'll put the element component wherever the outlet shows up in this header. So we go to the header code. It will render all of this stuff, and then it'll put the outlet right here. So remember, this is a div with a nav, and then under the nav is the about page, is the outlet. So I'm going to go do this. I click now about. So it matched the header and the about. Here we go. You see the header component is still up here at the top. The header component's up here, and here's the about page. So if we inspect and look at the elements, you'll see here's our root. That's where our app goes. This div right here was put in there by the header. That div was put in by the header. So let's take a look at it. So inside there, you see the nav. Remember, the header had a div, and inside of it had the nav. So here's all the nav stuff. You'll see it's highlighted, the nav bar. Okay, so there's nav that's highlighted. And then if I go down, this is what was rendered by the about component. All of this was rendered by the about component. Okay. You want to open it up so we can see? It had a div with all these classes. It had the what an amazing dashboard, and then it had the image somewhere. No, the image was in the background right here in this BG URL. Okay. So there it rendered that. If I click now dashboard, slash matched the header and then index. So it's going to render the header, and in the header where we see the outlet component, it will place the dashboard. So here again, I've got the nav. This was put in there by the header. And then I've got this component, which was put there by the dashboard. All right. This is what the dashboard displayed. So that's all it did, is it took the component that matched, and it put it into the outlet. Yes?
Yes, it's being just, the header is acting like it's carrying over.
It's a wrapper.
It's a wrapper.
The header is just a wrapper?
Yeah, the header wraps the whole thing. So for example, but I can put anything I want in the header. So if I go to the header code, then suppose I wanted to have a footer as well.
We will put it after that.
Yeah, so I can put down here div copyright Robert 2025. Okay, so I wanted to have a copyright on all of my pages. So I put that there, and then I come back here and look, I see the copyright. If I wanted it to be at the bottom of the page, I might put some CSS styling around it that pushes it down to the bottom, but you see it's there. So the header, the nav header, and the footer were rendered by the header component. The dashboard was rendered by the dashboard component. The dashboard was put inside of the outlet.
So this is the header, nav header. This is about and dashboard. This is the header pretty much. It stays fixed all.
It's staying fixed. If I move this outlet up to the top, what's going to happen? Suppose I put it there.
Nothing is going to be rendered.
It's gonna push the nav bar down.
So the nav bar, that is correct. It will render the dashboard, and then beneath the dashboard, it'll put this nav, and then beneath that, it'll put the copyright notice.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, so there you go. Here's the dashboard, there's the nav, and there's the copyright. So wherever you put outlet, that's where your content's gonna go. That's where your page content's gonna go, is wherever outlet is. Move it
Also,
down.
so the nav bar is, it starts from the top, it's gonna be put on the outlet, then about, like about one by one.
Oh, but we still have to use the nav element in the header. to
No, you can
describe-
put whatever you want there. You don't have to put nav.
Oh,
Sometime later, we're gonna change this, and with one of the exercises tomorrow, we're gonna take this and we're gonna change this from a header nav link to a sidebar like this,
uh-huh,
okay? But this sidebar would be rendered by the header component, and the outlet would, we put the outlet where we want the content to show up,
uh-huh.
okay?
What?
So you can do anything you want in there.
What is inside outlet? It's like a built-in,
This, you have to build it yourself.
I mean, the outlet, this is.
Outlet is a React router component.
It's a built-in.
You
Mhm.
import it from React router and you put it down there. Okay, so that's how the outlet works.
So most pages have the links in the header as well as like at the bottom of the page.
Uh-huh.
We would be putting those links in the like below the outlet, and then like, I mean, how would that work in the app then, like app.tsx?
So if you wanted to have links down at the bottom as well on every single page, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you could put them here where I put the copyright. You could put anything you want. You could put another nav here. You could put another footer bar, anything you want. Anything, any HTML you want can go down in here. It can
And
be, it can be React components, it can be elements, whatever. It just goes down in here, and that will render after the outlet. And then you'll style it so it either pushes to the bottom or goes however you like.
okay, and then nothing changes in our app.tsx.
Exactly. Isn't that awesome? The
Yeah,
only thing that has to change is where you put your outlet and what you put around it. Okay,
got it.
yeah,
Can I ask you another like question one more time?
go ahead.
So so what is happening here pretty much from line 6 to line 19? Is it like everything, we render everything, then we put it inside the outlet?
No, this is the header.
This is the header. where
This
it's
is
in
the header. It has nothing to do with the outlet. So I can comment out the outlet. And let me just delete the outlet, save. Then I go here and display. Oh, my page that I matched is gone. My dashboard's gone because I didn't tell React Router where to put it. So this is the header. This is the header component that's being displayed right here. There's no outlet, so I get no page. If I go put the outlet back in, undo, save, then now the page content goes in there where the outlet was.
So it's a repository that saves.
So it's like Rakaya explained, this is a placeholder that says, here's where I want you to put the page content, right there. Okay? All right, that's it on that. Let's talk for a minute about the links. The links. Link is a React Router component. Link, it basically renders an A tag. And you say link to, and you put the path you want it to render to. So this one I want it to render to /about. You do not include the host name in here. You put just the relative path. You want it to match, you want this to match exactly what is in your app TSX. So in app TSX, I say, okay, I'm trying to I want it to go to the about page. I want to just do the about page. The path is going to be /about. So that's what I'm going to put in my to link /about. If I want it to go to the details page, I do /details/ item ID. If I wanted to go to the dashboard, I just do /. So it figures out and matches here, and then it navigates there. All right.
In the line 13, the details contain many IDs, like an array of.
Yeah, I'll do that in a minute. Okay. So let me go back to the header. Got a link right here. So the link renders an A tag that navigates to whatever you put here in the to. You can style it however you want with class name. And then this is just where it renders to, okay?
Mhm.
So let's go take a look, just so you can see it. If I switch back and I do inspect, and let's look at the, here's the header. There's my nav. Keep going down, down. Here's my LI for the about. And here's, you see right here, it's an A tag. It's an A tag. The link rendered an A tag with the class that I gave it, which was text white, and an href. So it took the two and it converted the two into an href. Okay. So this is what the link tag rendered.
That's cool.
Hyperlinks, a link.
So it's just an A tag.
Oh, wow.
So you've already learned how A tags work. So this is just an A tag.
It just automatically translates into
It
HTML.
translates it into what needs to be here for it to work with React Router. Okay. So when you need to have a static link on the page, you use an A tag. Or sorry, sorry, I misspoke. If you want to have a static link on the page, you use the link component, and that will give you an A tag. Okay. So that's link. Not sure what, oh, okay, let's get now to the colon. What on earth is this colon thing? Colon item ID. Colon item ID. What on earth is that? You'll notice that in my app, when I click on Harry Houdini,
It's an object.
there is no colon. There's just a /8. So what happened? How does this match? So if I do details /8, how does that match in here? So what it does is it says, okay, we're going to match the slash. We're going to match details /, and then there's some text that comes after the slash. And that is what matches this. That matches this field right here. So I can put anything I want in there, and it will still match.
What do you mean anything?
Anything.
What?
So it says 8. Let me do foo. Okay, that will match. I'll go to the details page. And here we go. It actually tried to load the details page. I can tell because it says error loading item, and that's what the error loading item foo. So foo matched the item ID. And that's what got passed into the details component. The details component says, oh, I'm going to try and look up item foo. Wasn't there, but this is the details component that's doing this.
Mhm.
Okay, so it matches anything you put there. Usually what you will put there is the ID of your data element that you want to display. So here I'm going to put, so for example, here, Dorothy, you can see down here in the little path here, Dorothy is item ID 12 in her data structure. The data for this is in, where did I put the data? It's in the read. It's in the lib.
Library, something.
See, here's my data right
It
here.
is.
Here's all that, this is the data that we're displaying. So 12, Dorothy is 12. Okay, so if I click Dorothy here, it will navigate to details
Sorry.
/12. Now the details page will look up from the network or whatever it is. It looks up all the data for number 12 and it renders the page for 12. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. The way that works, first of all, let's do the matching. I'm going to do a matching /details /12. It matches the slash, it matches details /, and then it takes whatever is afterwards and it, the colon means it can be anything, and it matches to this thing, to this path with that, whatever you typed in item ID. Okay.
It's not gonna put just.
Okay. So let me just make a very quick observation. The matching matches up to and not including any further slash. So if I said slash image like that, I'm going to get a not found. Why? Because it had an extra slash in it, and so it didn't match this. This item ID colon stuff does not match slashes. Matches everything except any characters except slash. So it says, oh, it didn't match here, but it did match the star, which is everything. So it gave you the not found page.
But for example, if we had after the colon some just images, and then we had, for example, a property of items, all of them images, then we could just put colon images and it would detail out all of the images.
You mean if I just did this,
If, for example,
what would I put in the URL?
just images, just image, or just something that matches a property of those objects that we have in the array. A different property, but it would have to be set there. I was just saying, like,
Images?
theoretically, you
If I
said,
just do slash images,
no, details, it's slash details.
details slash images. Okay. Prediction, what's gonna happen?
We don't have this, we don't have it.
We
So
don't
we gotta
have-
navigate to it.
It's not gonna show.
Prediction, okay, what am I gonna see?
I'm not found,
You think I'm gonna see the not found page? All in favor of not found?
yeah.
All in favor of something different? Rakaya thinks she raised her hand.
I said not found.
You said not found as well. Okay, well, let's look at the code before I press it. Okay, slash detail slash images. Slash details slash something. Does it match?
No,
It's
Oh,
not,
it does.
It matches because you can put anything here, anything
Oh.
besides a slash. So it matches this page, so it's going to go to the details page. The details page is going to say the item ID is equal to the text images. It's going to try to look up the a magician that has an ID equal to images, doesn't exist, so it's going to say not found. Or sorry, not found, but it's going to give us an error, a lookup error. Here we go. So we're going to get the error that we saw before. Error
Oh.
loading images. See, it tried to look up something,
tried to look
item
it
with
up.
an ID of images. And it was not there. Okay, not there. So I don't get the not found page. I get the details page. The details page gets an invalid ID. So it says, oh, can't do that. It throws an exception.
image ID, try to find the image ID.
It's going to look through the data. Remember, I have the data here.
but I don't
It's
know.
going to look through one whose item ID equals the word images. Not one there. They're all numbers.
But I was asking also, Robert, that if, for example, the details slash thing we had specified a path to all the images.
If we had, so you wanted to say
I wanted to say, yes.
slash 12 slash images.
No, sorry. It's just a general question about the code. That if we would have, instead of item ID, used a different,
Images,
yes,
and then we created a new component that displayed that.
yes,
So I did created an images component,
uh-huh,
then it would
then
go
it
there.
would go there.
Yes,
Okay,
uh-huh.
okay.
Okay. All right. We all set on that?
Yeah, so it's not only.
So that's
about
how item ID works, but let's look at the details page and look at how that's how the matching happens.
the match.
The route matching happens that it matches everything here, everything in the URL matches against this item ID.
Hmm,
So then what React Router does is it says, okay, I'm going to navigate to the details page
mhm.
and I'm going to create a param object that has a field named item ID and the value of whatever was in the URL. And if you call use params, I'm going to return that object to you. So let's go to details. So details comes down here and it says, okay, I'm going to call use params is going to return that object that has that has the item ID in it. And so I'm going to destructure it and look and get the item ID field out of that object. And it's going to be, I'm going to create a variable named item ID, and its value is going to be whatever matched in the URL.
So the use params is acting as a middleman between them?
Yes,
Okay.
Is it like a use state?
it's similar. No, it's more like a prop, than a use state, but it's a hook. It's a hook that was written by React Router. React Router gives us this hook, and it returns an object that matches the URL, where the key is the name. The key is the name that came out of the path. The key is this name right here, item ID. That's the key that's in the params object. So this is going to create, and when I match that, if I match /details/12, then React Router is going to create an object, a params object that's going to look like this. It's going to have a key named item ID, and its value is going to be 12. Okay. Got it?
Mhm.
And then when you call use params, it's going to return this object. So I destructure the item ID out of it. And that's how, in details, that's how I figure out what item ID was in the URL. I get it from here. Okay.
Wow.
Now I need to emphasize that this name here is arbitrary. I could, right now, if I do /12, then I get, whoops, what's this image thing? /12, then I get Dorothy again, and item ID is equal to 12. Suppose I wanted to use a different name. Suppose I wanted to just use ID. That's fine. Now though,
But the object.
what do? I come into here. When I destructure, item ID does not exist in the params. See, when here, when it created my object, it created one that looks like ID 12, like that. So I come in here, I call use params, I get that object out. I destructure looking for item ID. Is item ID in here?
Doesn't say any error. I was gonna, the linter is gonna say something.
No. Is item ID in this params object?
No.
No, so item ID will have the value
Undefined.
undefined.
So
Okay, so now if I now refresh this page, did I save? Yes, I just get a loading. Okay, so item ID is undefined. So it messed up my code. If I want to get it out, I go ID. Now ID has the correct ID in it, but I needed a variable named item ID, so I could say const item ID equals ID. And now it will work. Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right. So I was just showing you that to show you that the name that you choose here, get rid of that. The name that you choose here for in your path is arbitrary. You pick it, be anything you want. But when you use params, that name is going to be what is in the object returned by use params. So when you destructure it out, you have to destructure out what is in the path. Okay, so I'm going to put this back to item ID, save it, and then put this back to item ID here, and then get rid of this.
So everything's gonna be in the lib.
No, the lib folder is just how I chose to implement this. Has nothing to do with it.
But the item ID is it's a property of one of those objects. It has
Yes.
to match.
The item ID is a field or a key name in the object that React Router created when it matched this path.
Oh, it's not part of the object array.
No,
Oh.
no, that use params object was created by React Router when it matched this path.
Yes.
And it put item ID in as a key. and the value is whatever was in the URL that matched it.
Mhm.
So when you go back, when you go here in the details, you call use params, you get use params returns an object that has that item ID field in it. And now I destructure it to get the value.
You're
So now
loading-
item ID now contains whatever was in the URL
Yes.
in that location.
Okay, but in use effect, we're loading items with the item IDs
Uh-huh.
from the lib folder.
No. Well, the read item is in the lib folder.
Yeah, sorry, can you open the read item? I mean, the read ts.
Right there. See, there's the read item function. Read item function does, it just loops through all of these items and finds the one whose ID
They are,
matches.
okay,
Okay.
So
sorry.
they came
this-
from
Yes.
this.
Okay. Yeah, and this is just an arbitrary implementation. It has nothing to do with anything real or whatever. It's just what I chose to do for this exercise. So
Oh, wow.
don't pay any attention to how that works. That it's irrelevant to you for as far as this exercise is concerned. All that matters is
Okay.
that you are calling read item, passing to the item ID, and it is returning the item that matched.
Mhm.
When we go full stack, this will be a network call
Mhm.
and it'll read it out of the database. Okay. But
Mhm.
right now, it's just
Arbitrary number.
arbitrary. Okay, it's just that arbitrary array of things.
Okay,
So you can assign for every like page content details like an arbitrary number.
Yep.
And this number is.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay, all right. That's that one, that's use params.
Oh, I was wondering about, well, you've explained links that it's just an anchor tag
an A
and it
tag,
can go around anything,
Right.
basically, okay.
Yep, exactly. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so here we go.
Mhm.
I'm gonna look through the about page we made no changes to. The dashboard, we put a link in. And here's the link we put in down here. So here we wanted to create the destination URL dynamically. So remember, we're gonna go, if we click on this card, we want it to navigate to the details page for that card. So I'm displaying this item. And I want it to go to oh, that should say slash. I want to go to /details/ item ID. So this is the way you want to use string interpolation in order to get the item ID in here. Okay.
Oh, that's how when we click on the card, it opens the details for
Yes.
about that card.
Yes,
Oh,
this is a link that when I click on the card, it opens the details page.
uh-huh.
The way that works is I put this link in here that goes to the details page, but I have to supply the ID of the item in order to get it to properly navigate.
Mhm.
So the way I put it in is I use string interpolation, which has to be inside of a curly brace. And I'm gonna put the item's ID right there.
Mhm.
Okay. So this is the item's name, and that's the item's ID. So so for Dorothy, it will say /details/12 and Dorothy, whatever her name is here. Okay. All right. That's the way that you do linking. If you have a path that has a colon in it, this is the way you set up the URL for it. Okay. You'll do that a lot. Almost all the apps that you do will have a page like the details page that has like a dynamic ID in it, like
Mhm.
that. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, this is really important, make us like be ready for the project.
yeah,
Exactly. That's why we do them.
yeah.
All right, now, the details page we talked about where you're doing use params. And then there's a link in here, isn't there? Yes, there's a link that goes back to the dashboard. So to go back to the dashboard, remember the dashboard is the index element, so it's just a straight slash. So we put in here the link to slash.
Mm.
Okay,
So the two keyword, is it property, is it for?
it's a property of the link component, and it tells you where to navigate to. Okay, now here's the not found page. Again, we're gonna put a link to the dashboard in here. And the header we talked about extensively, so I think we've talked about everything. There's one thing we haven't gone over yet, and that's how to do the dynamic navigation. So on the details page, you'll see that here, I'm going to close this down now. Here, there's a save button. So I wanted you to put a save button in here. And when you click the save, this was in part of the, this is the optional part of the exercise. I think it was optional.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So if you click the save button, I want it to navigate. I want it to pop up an alert that says, oh, I saved Dorothy. Then when you say okay, it navigates back to the dashboard. Okay, that was the goal. Here, save, I saved Robert, and then link back to the dashboard. That's my goal. So the way we do that is, and you'll see that there's a button in here now named save. And when you click the save
Handle
button,
save.
I have a handle save. So handle save is right there. I do the alert. And I'm just gonna put the item's name that I'm working on. I'm working on the item. See, I got the item out of in my use effect. My use effect read the item and set the item into state up here. So item is now the state that got read from that call. So I've got the item. When I handle save, I want to do an alert. So I just display its name. And then I want to navigate to slash. So the way you navigate dynamically like that is you use the React router's use navigate hook. See, here it is in React router. You just call use navigate and you say whatever variable name you want to use. It's traditional to use navigate. So you say const navigate equals use navigate call, and that gets a function. This is a function that is returned by use navigate that I can then now use to dynamically navigate. So when we click the save button, I get this alert. After the alert, I execute the navigate, and we're going to navigate to slash. Okay. But if I wanted to navigate to the about page instead, I would just change this to about.
What is this part of the fact that you can reassign a function to a constant variable and create? Is that the part of the?
Now I go to the about page.
Is that the closure? Is that something to do with the closure and scope and how we can?
What do you mean?
What is the term that's used to describe line 7?
Use navigate returns a function, and I'm storing the function in a variable.
Oh,
And if I want to call that function, I use the
variable.
parentheses.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so it's just a function.
Oh.
It's just like set item is a function.
Mm,
Set is loading as a function.
mm,
It's a variable that holds a function. It's a variable that holds a reference to a function.
okay.
So the function that it returns to you, we're going to call navigate.
Mhm.
And then when I call navigate, I pass it the path. I call it with the parentheses, and I pass an argument, which is the path that I want to navigate to.
What is that good for? Why can't we just use navigate? Why can't, is
We
that?
are using use navigate. I'm
But why
confused by
is
the
it-
question.
Why is it that we have to reassign it to a variable as a reference for?
Well, use navigate returns a function. If I don't
Oh, it always returns a function. Okay, I'm sorry.
use navigate
I understand,
returns a
I understand,
function.
I
Okay.
understand. Thank you.
Return navigate, use navigate returns a function. If I don't assign it to a variable, then
It's not.
it
good
just
enough.
drops on the floor and I can't do anything,
It's
right?
weird that it just acts like that.
Why we cannot just use params? Why we want to use?
Well, there's no function. I have to have a function that will cause a navigation to happen.
Navigation.
And the way you get it is to call use navigate,
I see,
And,
that's,
and the use param is to just.
is to get the parameters out of the URL.
Get the parameter.
Yeah, that colon item ID. It's to get the parameter out of the URL. That's what use params for. Use navigate is to get a function that I can navigate with. Okay,
funny it acts like that.
well, that's This is actually just standard JavaScript. This has nothing to do with React.
Oh, really?
React router doesn't do anything. This is nothing special. This is just JavaScript.
Oh, I don't recall doing that before. Okay.
But get a function. Well, you did it right here with useState. useState returns a function here in the second one.
Okay.
So there it is. You've done it over and over and over again. So there's a function. I'm calling that function right here.
Okay.
See, there it is. And I call it right there by putting parentheses or after it and passing it an argument. Okay? All right. Nothing magic in this.
And this is,
We just overwhelm you with all of this new stuff. Like I say, in order to learn React, it's hard enough learning React if you have to learn JavaScript at the same time. It's almost impossible to learn them both at the same time.
Mm-mm.
yeah,
You have to know the JavaScript fundamentals before you can do React. And so this is just standard. This is all just standard JavaScript. All of this right here is just
signing
standard
in.
JavaScript.
Straight, we never used it on the junior.
Yes,
side.
exactly.
Okay, this is advanced JavaScript.
Okay, it's advanced JavaScript. I'll give you that. Okay.
Can I
It's
just ask
being
you one last question?
Yes.
Before we leave.
Yes.
Thing is, I haven't started the assignment yet, this exercise.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna have really like hard time to finish it today or tonight, or you think?
Not really. If you just go through the steps, it tells you exactly what to do. And I just showed you what the outcome is. So if you just look back here, you'll see. So the steps are, you're going to create your routes here in this step. And this is all in the exercise. You don't have to write it down. You're going to create the routes in here. And it tells you what to do for your routes. You're going to go to the header, add the outlet. You're gonna, so that's the header of the app. So you've got that. You're gonna go to the details page and do the use params to get the item ID out. And you're gonna add a link. Now, this code you start with is gonna have all kinds of on clicks and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You just delete it all. When you're done, it is in general, your app routes here. These components do not have props. That's by far the most common case where your paths, the components for your paths do not have props. Any props they need, they usually get from the URL, which is usually an identifier. Okay, so they don't have props. So you're going to get rid of all the props in all of these components and instead put in the links and the use param and that's really it. Okay, so you're going to build your apps, your routes in app.tsx. You're going to get rid of all of the props, get rid of all of the code that uses the props, all the links and the clicking and all that junk. And you're going to replace them with links with the link tag and this call to use params in the details. But the instructions just walk you through step by step, just do it all.
Yeah, I think
All right.
this is way important than the carousel. It's like the fundamental for the project. This one, exactly.
Okay, this is fundamental. You're going to be using this repeatedly. Every time you do an application from here on out, you're most
Yeah.
likely going to do any exercise you do from here on out is going to have it's going to use React Router. You use it all the time. Okay, so I've given you the exercise for tomorrow and my Slack message gave you some little background on it. So I don't think there's anything more I need to say about it. You're going to build an e-com site. But it's kind of trivial and it stores all the data in the app in the browser, so it's not really real yet. Are there any questions on what I sent already on the catalog?
It's gonna be similar to this one, right? Pretty much.
Yes, it's going to be similar to this. You can start with this and you can just add more stuff to it. Any questions on it? Okay, and then a reminder, tomorrow I won't be in until between 10 and 10:30. So
Robert,
you'll,
I had a question. I'm sorry.
yes.
Why did we have to add the browser router in our main.tsx? Like,
Oh, thank you. I forgot that. Very good. There is one thing I forgot to do. Main TSX does a browser router right here. You have to put that in and wrap it around your app. If you don't, React Router won't work. And what this does is it sets it up. We're going to actually learn why this works in a couple of exercises after we do the back end. It's called context. And so this sets up context for the router which sets up all of its global variables and things that it needs in order to get it to work. If you don't put this in, your routes won't work and you'll be very confused and frustrated why they're not working. So thank you for the reminder. You do need to have this in there. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
you bet. And again, tomorrow, just work on the catalog, get as far as you can. When I come in, if you have questions, I'll help you out with those and we'll get them going. So tomorrow we have 2 exercises, the catalog in the morning and a different one in the afternoon. Okay,
That's it? Oh.
all right.